Hello and welcome to SW6 Essential. As you can tell by the title, the halfway point, because Fulham have played 19 games and they've only won two. Joe Sansom, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, two games at the halfway stage is a bit worrying. We've been saying for a while. Feels like we're further into the season. Now we are halfway. Not too different from 2018-19 points wise, performance wise, much better. But we've said last week this is a crucial week. We're halfway through it. We've got 1 point. We said we needed at least four. So it sort of all rests on Saturday whether this has been a good week or not.
You said just before we started that this is almost like a null and void kind of video because we're at the halfway stage of this massive two games, and you said 4 points minimum, and we have 1 point from those maybe 4 points that we might get. We played Brighton and Hove Albion last night, drew 0-0. And I remember saying last week that since we changed that system after the Everton game, improved after the Everton game, we haven't had one bad half of football. Well, last night was two bad halves of football. Fulham did not play well. We wasted Bobby De Cordova-Reid in that position. I feel like we needed way more going forward in the attacking positions, and Ivan Cavallero was very frustrating. And Mitrovic came on and basically created the one real big chance we had in that second half. Joe, it was a frustrating and very nervy watch.
Yeah, really frustrating, to be honest. Two crap halves. Don't think we really merited anything out of the game. So I was glad to come away with the point. Obviously, I'm deflated that we didn't win the game, because I feel it was a game that we really needed to look for maximum points. But like you said, two halves that were the poorest since we've changed the system. And there's a few questions on Parker this time, which has been quite rare recently. I understand why he didn't start Mitrovic, because Mitrovic didn't perform well against Burnley when he was given a chance on the weekend. But considering how ineffective Cavallero was, I don't know why he didn't switch up earlier, switch up at half time, even 60 minutes in. When Mitrovic came on, the game changed. I also think it says a lot about what he thinks of Joe Bryan currently, that he played Bobby Reid at left wing back instead of Joe Bryan when he was on the bench. I mean, Joe Bryan came on, got rinsed about 3 times on that left-hand side, and did put in the cross that led to our great chance at the end, but defensively was very poor, even with about 80 minutes on the attackers that were going past him. So, it was disappointing not to win the game. The way the game unfolded was very similar to the Brighton home game, where I think that other than the first 10 minutes of the first half, I felt like they dictated the game, and they were taking the game to us. Set pieces, they looked dangerous, they looked fast. I was quite impressed with McAllister, who I was shocked to find out was Argentinian just because of his name. Thought he was like down the road or something. He was pulling the strings, and I don't know why they took him off, because if Brighton could finish past Areola, who was excellent, then we would have lost that game. I couldn't see us scoring. So I'd take the point. I'm happy with the point in terms of the game individually. But in terms of the game as a whole, it's definitely a missed opportunity. But I'm sure Brighton are looking at it exactly the same.
We have scored 15 goals in 19 games. I think Burnley have the lowest goals scored in 12, and they are, well, racing ahead of us now. They've picked up a massive win for them last night. You really do feel as though the third place... Actually, I think it's all been blown up again because of Sheffield United's result last night. I was going to say, Sheffield United are already down, but I maybe there's a fight on. They're 10 points off. Is it 10? Yeah, they're 10 points off 17th, so it still is a huge battle for them. That's a massive morale boost for Sheffield United. As for Fulham, last night was the first time where I thought Parker's got this one wrong. Because of the lineup and because of the change we made to the team, everyone was thinking this could either be a 5-back or a 4-back. And it ended up being the 5-back with Bobby De Cordova-Reid playing at left wing-back, which of course is not his natural position. It's not even his semi-natural position, which is right wing-back, because Kenny Tete was playing there. And Joe, this is what I just said earlier, we needed him in forward positions, because going forward, Fulham had nothing. And it was exactly the same game as the home game, as you said, against Brighton. The aggressive press from Brighton, cutting out the midfield, And the one point that people made after the game on Twitter last night, which really did worry me, was Andre Frank Zambo-Anguissa's form since he's come back from COVID. I didn't think he was disastrous last night, or even in the games before, but maybe playing him in that Burnley game was a real hindrance to us last night.
Yeah, I don't get why he played in the Burnley game, and not only that, for so long. I think it took about 70 minutes for him to get subbed off. He looks jaded, he looks tired. Is it long-term effects of coronavirus? I really hope not, for his sake. But we've seen with other players, like a few of the Newcastle players have apparently still been suffering, and that's quite a few months on from when they actually caught the virus. So I hope for his sake he gets better soon. In general, not just in footballing terms. But the thing about last night that got on my nerves slightly is I saw a few people pointing out that Parker almost set us up to not lose the game. And in an away game against one of your relegation rivals, normally I'd absolutely understand that. It probably is more vital that we don't lose it rather than win it. In terms of this one, the West Brom one is different. I think that is a must-win, no questions asked. The problem is that we didn't beat Brighton at home. We drew that one. And in my mind, you win your home games, you draw your away games. And if you can't do one, you have to do the other. And I thought we needed to go for it last night. And when we did, in the last 5 minutes of the game, we were the better team. We looked like scoring. Loftus-Cheek, I think he did everything that he could have done with that chance. Brilliant defending by Dunk. And it would have been smash and grab, probably very undeserved. One of those games you need to grind out, because Burnley, look, we might have got it a bit wrong with Burnley. They seem to always do this. They seem to start quite poorly and pull away. And yesterday, you can look at expected goals, all of that. They had under 1 expected goal. They scored 3 goals. It really doesn't matter. And that's 3 goals that we haven't scored in our last, I think, 4 games. So we've only scored 2 in our last 4 games. So I think fair play to them. We need to find a solution, and whether that is a striker coming in, an attacking-minded player coming in, or just using what we've got better, remains to be seen. But last week I said quite confidently, we'll definitely get a striker in. There's only a few days left, and I'm starting to think, was that a bad statement from me? Because I assumed, and I still, in the back of my head, assumed that we will just get someone in. We're cutting it a bit fine now.
And the comments from Parker as well, he doesn't believe we're going to spend. He doesn't feel as though we have the finances to spend. I don't know what's going on in terms of the finances and the ins and outs and whatever. But it seems as though every team around us is getting at least one striker in. Brighton did it. They recalled Tau, I think. And then I think they're linked with someone else as well. And West Brom had someone in a medical today. You have to remind me of his name.
I think it's someone from Galatasaray.
Yeah, it's something Diangi or something. Diagne.
Yeah.
Anyway, and now we're seeing Josh Maja being linked with West Ham because they sold Hella. I genuinely, I don't know why I did that. I genuinely like Josh Maja as a player, and I thought at Sunderland he was a promising product, and then he went out to France. So I'm not really sure how he's done, but look, we're desperate for someone up front, and maybe now that I don't think we are going to sign a striker, it's all down to now Mitrovic really pulling up his socks and playing some decent football. Because when he came on last night, his hold-up play was great. He set up the chance, a nice little back heel into Joe Bryan, which set up the Ruben Loftus-Cheek chance. So, Joe, going forward, Mitrovic has to start on Saturday. That was what everyone was saying on Twitter.
Yep, 100%. And if he doesn't, then I've got to question Parker's decision-making, because Cavallero offered nothing yesterday. He offered nothing. Bobby Reid, hopefully now that Robinson's back, and we've got Tete on the other side, he can play further forward as well. It'll be interesting to see whether we switch to a 4 against West Brom, 4 at the back, now that Robinson's back. I'm not sure we will, but I think it's something that we should start looking to do in some of the games that are more winnable. For example, when Leicester come to the Cottage next week, I think set up in a 5, aim to be solid, aim to be hard to beat, and try and just get anything out of the game. I think that's a good way of doing it, because even after yesterday, where we were dominated for some portions of the game, there was never a time where I actually thought we were going to concede, weirdly. There was quite a few good chances. This might be very unpopular compared to other people. I never felt it was coming. I thought the game was going to end 0-0 or 1-0 to us, even though we were getting battered.
Really?
And that's purely because Brighton have been this way all season. We saw it at the Cottage. They create so many chances, and similar to us, they don't have someone to finish it off. And in their case, they've actually got 4 or 5 strikers. 2 or 3 of them were on the bench and didn't come on. They just weren't putting them away. And I feel comfortable now in most games that we are not going to concede. And if we do, it is going to be from a really good goal, such as Kane's, such as Pogba's, and there's not much you can do about it, or it's going to be a mistake. And sometimes mistakes happen. Yesterday, we made a few mistakes, but none of them led to a goal, luckily. But I wasn't ever worried. So we've got a good foundation in these games. We need a goal scorer. We need a goal scorer. But yesterday, more so, actually, we needed someone to just create anything.
Yeah, we were starved in that position in number 10. That's only because every time we got the ball, it wouldn't stick. We wouldn't get it. It was so hard to get it forward. It was like playing FIFA with horrendous game lag. And yeah, I keep making FIFA references. We are going to wrap up because we're going to make this a shorter episode. We agreed, because next week's the big one where we review that West Brom game. What I will say is that Brighton and Hove Albion, all the times I've watched them at home this season, barring maybe the Chelsea game in the first game, it's been the exact same game. So many chances and just can't win the game. I know it's the same as Chelsea because Chelsea beat them. The Man United game, they battered United and somehow lost 3-2. And again, it was the same last night. The next 2 games are Spurs at home. I think they go to Burnley away, then host Liverpool, but it might be the other way around. As for Newcastle, they go to Everton, Goodison Park, 12:30 on Saturday, and then they host Crystal Palace and then Southampton. Now, Newcastle are the team we are looking to catch. We've got them in the last game of the season. We've said it for numerous weeks now. So that third relegation spot, I still think Sheffield United and West Brom are going to struggle, and I think they probably will end up going down. And it's unbelievable to say that Sheffield United have won the same amount of games as us this season. But obviously we have more draws. Joe, my question to you is it now a case of it's between Fulham, Brighton and Newcastle? Because Crystal Palace are not on good form at all. Wolves look really, really weird. And I think Leeds are just about fine. And Burnley are in and around. I think they'll do enough.
Yeah, I would even go as far as saying it's between us and Newcastle, because Brighton, I think they played all the teams around them other than Newcastle at home now and not won any of the games, and that's very worrying. But they just seem to have this factor where they can go to somewhere quite difficult and win. They won at Villa, they won at Leeds, they smashed Newcastle away earlier in the season, which was at the time a bit of a freak result with how both teams started, because Newcastle started okay results-wise. So I think it's between us and Newcastle, and then the more teams that are around, the better. So the way that I'm trying to look at this so far is, because I'm quite a positive person, but I'm quite deflated about the result yesterday. I'm trying to look at it as we gained a point on Newcastle because they lost. We still have a game in hand. We win that game in hand, we're 3 points behind, and we still have to play them at home. We've got a better goal difference, so if you win that game, we finish above them, if you use that logic. So we've got a big game on Saturday where we need to win. Newcastle got a very tough game at Everton, which hopefully they won't get anything out of, but you never know.
You never know.
So by the end of that game, we could be, if I'm correct, 3 points behind them, still with a game in hand, and still with them to play. So I'm pinning all my hopes on Newcastle. They've got 2 fixtures coming up, which you mentioned before, Palace and Southampton at home, doubleheader. Games where you think they probably, if they're going to pull out a result of anywhere, it's probably going to be in one of these games at home. So we need to hope. Again, we've got a favourable run of fixtures coming up. We need to take advantage, because if we are going to get out of this, I think this is the run where we've got to completely close the gap and overtake them.
It's all right. It's all right. Not conceding goals at the back, but we have to score goals going forward. I genuinely feel like Mitrovic might just have that run of form that we desperately need him to go on. Joe, we're going to wrap it up there. This is slightly sad, but the team of the year are all in packs in 4 minutes, and I'm going to rush upstairs. So I've got a massive pack opening to do with me and a few of my brothers as well. They've got packs to open as well. Call me whatever you want. I've grinded hard this week. Right, Joe. West Brom at home, away, sorry, at the Hawthorns. Last time we went there, we drew 0-0. Can I get your score prediction and like who you'd want to see in the team come in for whoever last night?
Okay, so I think if it was me in charge, I'd start with a 4 at the back in this one and go for it. I don't think we need to show West Brom any respect. I think that we need to stamp our authority on the game. And if we want to stay up, we need to show that we're better than them. Whether that happens is another thing, but I would go with Areola in goal, back 4 from left to right of Robinson, who I'm very glad is back, Tosin, Anderson, and Tete. Then in a midfield double pivot, I'd have Anguissa and Reed. 3 behind Mitrovic up front would be Lookman, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and Bobby Reed further forward. And obviously Mitrovic, as I've already said, up front. And I think that can cause problems. If we play like we did when Mitrovic came on last few minutes yesterday, I think we'll win 2-1.
Right. I mean, that's a bold. I think it's hard because Aina was really good last night. George Singer sent in that spreadsheet statistic where he made so many clearances inside our own box. It'd be harsh to drop him, so I wouldn't be surprised if we keep the 5. Yeah, I'd understand, and I think it's paramount we go for 4 at the back to be more attacking in a game where we have to win against a team that keeps conceding goals at home in West Bromwich Albion. I'm going to mirror your team because that's genuinely the team I would like to see if we went for 4 back. And I'm going to say Fulham to win. I do back us, I really do, and I say it every week. I feel like that win is coming. I know it's been ages. I'm going to back us to win that by 2-0. And that is going to be that for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, and also I must say that the deadline day is coming up. I don't know whether we're going to do a live stream or not, but if we do, we'll see you there. If we don't, then boo-hoo, no signings, which is so peak. We'll let you know before that goes live, if it goes live. Joe, we'll see you next Thursday and try and enjoy the game. And thanks very much for watching, Joe. Being here, Joe.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Jack.
My head is frazzled. I need to go. It's 1 minute to go. I'll see you later, Joe. Thanks very much. And come on, Fulham, please. Joe. Oh, gosh.